All right, so this is going to be a part 2 of the New England Patriots 2024 NFL Draft Big Board Series. The part 1 was essentially just amassing 1,000 names, and that was basically a primer for the upcoming college season at that point. And again, that was a couple months ago or 3 months ago now. So we're at a different spot. We have some stats, we have some tape. I've done some research. So we're off just basic lists. Now we're on to kind of moving them up and down, kind of starting to scale them and grade them in different ways. Although we don't have all the statistics for the season. We don't know all the injury situations, but we're going to have most of that by the end of the year. And then we have the combines. Obviously we have like senior bowls and all that stuff. So we have some time. We have some other stuff we need to put in there. But I'm getting more and more confident about where I'm having these guys graded out at the moment. Still haven't done any sort of blue chip rankings, really hammering home first round grades or second or anything like that. So the grading systems are not there. But at this point, I have enough data, enough stats, and I also have enough tape to at least have a strong idea of who I like. And it's who I like through the lens of the Patriots, right? So that's where we're at right now. I've got them into Excel spreadsheets. I don't have any equations attached to them. I have no data inputs. This is just names and obviously the year that they're in there, a little more data there. And then you can notice that some names are in bold and then some names are also highlighted at this point. Before we get further into the video, I'm going to point out that the bold names are guys that have done multiple games of watching tape. And the guys in the gold, yellowish, orange highlights right now, those are names that have been moving up, that I am very bullish on right now, and I am considering even moving higher. Obviously, Olu can't go any higher at the moment, but he's moved up to the top spot and whatnot. I've watched his beginning of the season, he wasn't too hot, but now he looks solid. So it's him and Joe Alt, and then I have JC Latham and Kingsley Sumamataya in the 5th spot right now. We'll get into some of the other later on, but before we get started, there's a few things I want to point out. One, notice the order I have these tabs in for the position groups. So we have offensive tackle, wide receiver, edge, tight end, QB, safeties, running back, interior defensive lineman, corners, linebackers, guards, centers, fullback, H-back, and long snappers. Notice, don't have any kickers or punters because we don't need those. That being said, we need everything else. Everything else is in play. We're done saying you don't pick the best on the board. You pick the best available on the board at this point because your team needs youth, it needs depth, it needs speed, it needs needle movers. All those things are in play. Yes, we did pick up a bunch of guards. Yes, we do have some guards on the team. We might not need as many guards as we did last year, of course, but we might actually still need to pick up a guard, especially if that guard is better than any other guard we have. You just need to get better. Yes, there are higher priority positions. Thankfully, I think those positions kind of have to be at least targeted in this draft. And on top of that, those are very deep draft classes for those respective positions. So we're in luck. Now, let's go over the order. We have offensive tackle, obviously, first. For the Patriots, that is a position that has been underlined, circled, star, and highlighted, and multiple asterisks next to it. Like, yes, we need to take advantage of this deep offensive tackle class. We have an issue with both Trent Brown and Mike Onwenu being free agents, and they might go. Trent Brown's probably the best offensive tackle going into free agency, where he's going to ask for a bunch of money. And because of that, we have to probably think about offensive tackle being our first pick. Now, most people are like, oh, wide receiver, quarterback. Well, yeah, if there's certain guys that you like that are available and the other guys' offensive tackles are gone, yeah, maybe. But if I'm looking at this, there's a reason not only why we want offensive tackles just because we need them, but it's also that every other team in the NFL is probably going to be considering an offensive tackle if they're there. If there's an offensive tackle they like, they're probably going to take them. It's not the talent at offensive tackle in the NFL is not abundant, and there's plenty of injuries. And I think we see what happens when injuries occur on the offensive line, both for the Patriots and other teams. Those offenses tend to really struggle. Some of them completely get dismantled and come to a grinding halt. So I'm a big fan of getting an offensive tackle in the first round. And everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah. Now, luckily, our second most important, in my opinion, second most priority, we'll say, not highest important, but priority, is a wide receiver. We have 2 wide receivers that are struggling to stay on the field that have not shown up this season with Devontae Parker and Juju Smith-Schuster. Kendrick Bourne's injured and also a free agent. So lots of issues there. Although Ty Montgomery's a running back, I mean, he's leaving too. He's a free agent. So there's that. Not a 53-man roster, but, what's his face got injured with his shoulder this year. Why is his name escaping me right now? But you need to bring in some wide receivers. It's just obvious. And we still are missing an Alpha 1 wide receiver. What is an Alpha 1 wide receiver? It is a wide receiver that can be put in every single alignment, anytime. Just put them anywhere on the field. They're going to be a threat, right? Whereas some other wide receivers, although very good, are strictly X guys or Zs or slot guys, whatever you want. Possession wide receivers, perimeter guys, contested catch. They might be really good receivers and could be your number one, but they're not that they're bad at other things. They just tend to be a specialist in so many ways. Alpha 1s are specialists at everything. That's the idea. This year we have about 4 guys I would say that fit that category, and then there's a few other ones that maybe not as good but can fit that category as well. So Marvin Harrison Jr. being probably the best player in the whole draft. Keon Coleman after that, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze. Ibuka kind of fits that. Worthy, Leggett, Johnny Wilson, Corley, kind of a little more niche-y. Brendan Rice would probably be in more of like an Alpha 1. I see him going anywhere, being operative in any situation. Adonai Mitchell could be one. He probably more of an X guy, but still. Troy Franklin, he's got that potential. He's a little smaller framed, but again, somebody that you could put him out there. He's a speedster. Horton's good. I think I see him more of a slot guy. Same thing with Roman Wilson, but let's just point out that you can get all the way down to the 30s here, and you got guys that are deep enough to be drafted all the way to the second round. The third round. So we have almost a whole round of wide receivers, right? 30-something wide receivers here that could be drafted in the first 2 days. It's really deep. So if we don't get a wide receiver, my point here is if we don't get a wide receiver in the first round, you don't need to freak out, because it's not like last year where it was done. That's it. Boom, boom, done. That was it. It was it. And then there was some people getting picked here and there throughout, but we got the luckiest 2 picks, I think, in the late rounds in terms of wide receivers. I know everybody's like Puka Nacua. I thought Puka Nacua was good. I know, same thing with Jake Bobo. There's a few other guys out there. I'm sitting there you probably could pick those guys up too, but Point being is this draft, in terms of wide receiver, I mean, Smoke Harris, maybe pick him up. I like him even the 4th round, but you might be able to do the same thing and pick him up in the 5th or 6th. Same thing with Robert Lewis. He's one of your best slot guys in the whole draft. But you can see some of these names there, especially the bold ones. Like Wayne Ruby's going to go under the radar. He's a D3 guy, but he runs crisp routes, good hands, good physical attributes. He's under the radar. Bub Means. Both guys from Mercer underrated. Guy from Holy Cross. Drake Stoops, Bob Stoops' son, probably one of the best slot guys, and he's got one of the highest receptions, number of receptions in FBS. This guy from Idaho's solid. Guy from Mass, he's good. But then I even have like these holding pen these guys that are below the black line. I still need to get them into the list. I have to figure out where I want to rank them. So, but I'll tell you, like Zach Mathis, one of the best receivers in FCS, 6'7", 204, runs like a 4.4. Max McLeod, explosive, 6'3", 205, D2 dude. McBride from Hawaii, he's solid. Hicks from UAlbany, deep threat. He's a solid, he's a freak, physical freak. Let's see, anybody else to point out here? Victor's another guy with a high number of receptions at FBS level. Charlie Wilson from Hamline, he's an interesting guy to watch. D2, I believe. Same thing with West Florida, Giles. Yeah, Slippery Rock, same thing with Kyle Sheets. Again, another D2 guy. Sean Atkins having a strong year too from USF. I'm not sure. He should be coming out. Next after that, we have Edge. Now, the Edge is, at the beginning of the season, I was like, this is no way it's going to be as strong as last year. The last year's Edge class was deep, strong. It was diverse in terms of talent. This year it's impressed. If these guys do come out, which there's plenty of 4th, 5th, and 6th year guys, it's going to be a deep enough draft to pick a lot of guys all the way through the draft. But then if you get everybody to come out, it's going to be loaded. So, but I would say that I think Jared Verse, Latu, and Dallas Turner would definitely be first rounders last year, even with last year's Edge class. Same thing with Chop Robinson. Trice might be in there as well. So it's just, I think it's surprising like the high end guys really would be competitive even almost any year. And I mean, Jared Verse could be one of the best Edge prospects in a while. Very comprehensive, solid blue chip, dark, heavy blue chip player. I have to admit there's some bias to that. And I'll disclose that maybe as we get closer to the draft, but he's good. You see him work, physical attributes, talk to enough people. Guy knows how to move. He's going to be a disruptor. Now, the two other guys I'm pretty big on there, most people are not, are Jordan Birch and JT. I know JT's probably rated high, but I think JT's got first round talent. And same thing with Jordan, I think, as well. Princely, I have him a little bit higher. Chris Braswell, I've been bullish on him. Even beginning of the season, I think I was like, maybe we can get him at day 3 if most people, and I'm like, yeah, he's at Alabama, they're gonna find him. And now I think he's probably an early day 2 pick. Zion, he could be a day 2 pick. So Linton, I'm looking at day 2s all the way down. You might start hitting day 3 talent wise. Yeah, maybe down here. So that's deep. It's very deep. So you're going to get some day 2 talent well into day 3. Guys, I would really want you to kind of take some time and look at, which would be obviously these top 10 guys here, right? Any of these guys are worth your time looking, but Justin Blazek, I don't know. I really don't know if he's going to keep going under the radar, but he probably won't. But man, does he play 6'5", 245. He goes to Wisconsin Platteville. People are going to give me a bunch of reasons why he's not as good as I think he is. Just watch him. Another guy is Anton Junkag. UAlbany's turned into Edge University. They have, every year now, they pump out really good edge players, basically. In fact, that's where Jared Verse came from. And there's 2 guys from UAlbany. I'll see if I can find him later on. Hunt is solid too. Nelson Caesar, I'm starting to really grow. He's growing on me. JJ Weaver from Kentucky, good outside linebacker / edge player. Ty French is solid. Juice. Miles Cole from Texas Tech, he's interesting. Sonny Anderson, HBCU guy. Knows his number. He's just been climbing up. Max Michel from Buffalo. Hot cold, but he's got some potential. Again, you might be able to even get him UDFA, but that's where I'm seeing him. Same thing with the guys from William and Mary. Both of them are solid. Chattanooga guy's good. Where's Kevin Symes? Very interesting. But yeah, we got some guys down here I need to finally put into the mix here. All right, tight ends. We have 3 tight ends that are going to be free agents. Probably Hunter Henry is probably going to be the top of his class for free agency. Even Gesicki's probably a top 5, and Pharaoh Brown's even top 15. So I don't know if we're going to bring them all back. If it is, it's going to cost us. But even then, probably still need to look at one. Brock Bowers is your probably 4th or 5th best player in the whole draft. He's an offensive weapon. He is a tight end. That is his depth chart designation. But the guy can play wide. He can play in the slot. He can play in line. He can play at the H-back position. He can actually take handoffs at the fullback position. He's an offensive weapon. Discounting him so much because he plays tight end is beyond foolish. Jatavian Sanders, good move tight end, runs nice crisp routes, basically a nice oversized wide receiver. Kate Stover, utility tight end. He can go, or I should say utility, comprehensive. He can play everywhere, reliable, looks to be a solid, just hard-working guy that just plays every snap. Theo Johnson, he's solid. He's higher on my board than others. Another guy to keep an eye on is Dallin Holker, Colorado State dude. I think he's not under the radar anymore, but still might get him on a discount. Span forward, big dude, 6'7", 270. Zach Hines still kind of under the radar, I think. Keep an eye on here. I'd like to see him as a possible day 3, maybe in UDFA. And some of these other guys I've watched now, and I'm kind of impressed. I have to move them up a little bit. But those guys you can maybe pick up on day 3 / UDFA. All right, now finally on to everybody's favorite topic, which is quarterbacks. I still have them a little bit lower on my list just because those other ones are have to be addressed. Do we have to address the quarterback? We still can actually pick up Mac for another year if we really, really wanted to. Or 2 years, actually, right? 2 seasons. Yeah. So it's not as time, you have to get rid of him. You could still bring him back on a rookie contract. Still going to be cheap compared to going and getting free agents. I'd rather spend money on, offensive talent rather than just, throwing Mac out there and not really having an answer. Now, if we are in the position to pick up one of the top 2 guys, yeah, that becomes a value and what are you doing draft strategy if you are able of picking up Caleb Williams and Drake May. Now, if say Mac for some reason has a good year and you can move back a few spots and still pick up an offensive tackle, but you're able to pick up, you're moving back a few spots, so you still get the first, but you pick up their next year's first for it, and then maybe a second or third or maybe more from this year just for moving back a handful of spots. Man, that's where I'm at in some cases, but at this point, it's only because I'm only on Drake May. Maybe I know I like Caleb Williams, and I think if we picked him, I would not be hating it. I don't like the red flags, though. But does the on-field play tell me that he could still be a great quarterback at the NFL level? Yeah. Is it like this all these things you hear and actually the things you see from him in terms of personality that is really concerning? Yeah. Does he want to be a Patriot? Doesn't seem like it. So maybe in that case, if Drake's gone and for some reason you do get a shot at Caleb, maybe you convert that value into, maybe you can get more value elsewhere. You know what I mean? But anyway, now a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" I don't think Bo Nix is amazing at anything, but he's not bad really at anything. Concerns he's a little bit older, but at the same time, also he doesn't mess up. Doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. He can make off-platform throws. He's actually a decent athlete. Yes, he's surrounded by good talent, but not as good as talent as Caleb May. Not nearly as good as talent that Michael Penix has. So I don't know. I know what to say there. I mean, he does have good guys around him, but it's not as nearly as impressive as the other guys, really. So, would I want him in the first? If we were a top 10 pick and we take Bo Nix, I'm going to be pretty unhappy. But as one of our second round picks, as our second round pick, yeah, I'd be okay with it. Wouldn't hate it. Wouldn't be my number one choice there, but wouldn't hate it. And I think his stats support him being considered there. I mean, he's got a good arm, good athlete. Again, doesn't seem to, really have any major holes. Michael Pratt, again, keeps moving up on my board. Guy's got an arm, seems to be improving. Like, he's got year-over-year improvement. So, I'm okay with him being a second-round pick. Same thing with JJ. He's kind of my second, third area. Same thing with Riley and Cam Ward. I wouldn't hate them if they liked them. In the second round. I don't know if Riley or Ward. I'm pretty sure Riley Leonard's probably going to go back. He's that injury. He's had 2 injuries, and he probably should go back. He'd be like one of the top, guys next year. Michael Penix, yes, is that low for me. I'm out on Michael Penix. I've never really been like, I had him at third because I felt like his ability to lead an offense, doesn't make too many mistakes. A lot of things you really, really like. Those first major, check marks or check boxes to check out for a quarterback, he does. But the injuries and the throwing mechanics, I mean, I'm not joke. It's a joke, but it's actually not that much of like a stretch. The dude kind of has like an Uncle Rico type of throwing motion, right? And for one to say like, well, he still throws the ball like, and it's pretty accurate. Yeah, it's in the range, but you also have like Rome Odunze, who's like absolute freak at going up in contested catches and hanging himself up on the top of the ladder and just bringing everything down. Jalen Polk is a solid second round pick. Same thing with McMillan. Those are both solid day 2 wide receivers. So he's got 3 guys that'll be probably top 50, if not easily top 100 picks. Right? He's loaded with talent around him. So, and it's not that I don't like him. It's just like I wouldn't consider. I mean, it's not like I don't want to consider him because there's other guys that are doing pretty well down here. I still think he's better than Quinn Ewers. I'm sure Sanders is probably not coming out this year. I think that's been like almost stated officially at this point. But I still like Jaden Daniels. He's all right. Jordan Travis is solid. I think these guys are solid. Joe Milton, I really like as like a day 3 pick. And I wouldn't even hate if we picked 2 quarterbacks in the draft just simply because we don't have a good backup. Grayson McCall's a good guy to look at. Garrett Schrader's a good athlete. Injured at the moment, so we don't have too much data, but I like him when he does play. Holy Cross dude's good. Sluka. Theo Day's an interesting guy to go look up. Very good arm talent. Seems to be running that offense. Same thing with Curtis Rourke from Ohio. Again, big, awesome athlete. And the guy who picked up after Tyson Bagent, Michael Ayers from Samford. Keep an eye on him. Bohannon, I think injured again, but I have to take a look. Richard solid. Cam Miller from North Dakota State's had a good year. Down in here, this Mike DeLello. Keep an eye on him. And then this Gage Porter guy he's a D2 dude. He's a quarterback, but I think he might be a really good running back prospect for us. Or maybe a wide receiver, but 5'11", 220. And he's like, I think the best rusher in D2 from the quarterback position. It's impressive. What's next? Safeties. So we still need safeties. The McCourty situation obviously has not been deep safety. Still need some help there. I want to unlock Duggar and Peppers there. We also probably need to think about having, just in case Duggar's gone, we still need a safety. So safety's becoming an issue. Adrian Phillips looks like he's just done. So there's a lot of guys in here that I like. This is probably the one position group that's seen a big bump from last year. Like, safeties last year were rough. This year, there's plenty of them. And I'll break this down into free safety, strong safety, star, nickelback, slot safety. I'll try to break this group up because of how defenses are now in college. You kind of have to start getting some subdivisions in terms of classification. But I like a lot of these safeties this year. Let's see. Yam Banks is probably I might have to move him down a little bit. Like, I just watched him. The guy just knows what he's doing. But Cole Bishop I've liked for a long time. Obviously I like Kinchins and Newman and Hicks. Bullock. Those guys are solid. Rod Moore, I probably need to watch a little more before I get a conviction on that. James Williams I've liked from the start. 6'5", 215, plays deep. He plays all over the place. He's very interesting. Wouldn't mind having him. Dent's had a good year. Let's see. Proctor's been solid too. Same thing. Jack Henderson. Keep an eye on him. He's one of my keeping receipts on being a solid pick. Same thing with PJ Jules. Carlisle's. Again, some of these guys are. Cole Wisniewski, another guy I want to keep receipts on. So a lot of safeties with receipts. Wide receiver, I got to put my receipt. Maybe I'm going to make my own, like, I called it video before we're even done with the season. That these guys should be considered for NFL and might be absolute monsters. There's a couple guys down here that you got to keep an eye on, tight ends too. This guy from Long Island University is very interesting. He plays almost every position on the offense. And this Garrison and Grandy and Stoffel are very interesting as well. Wide receivers, we had a bunch, right? Oh, yeah, like Zach Mathis, 6'7", 204. Keep receipts on him. Anybody else down here this low? Stoops, I might want to keep a call or receipt on him. Ruby, I definitely do. Wayne Ruby. Oh, yeah, my ultimate dude. Where is he? He's all the way up. I have him pretty high now. He's almost a top 10 guy. LeJonte Wester from FAU. I know I might have said it already, but he went from basically a 100 rank all the way up into what do we have him at? 20? I might move him up even higher. He's just a free. Watch his tape. All right, down with that. Let's go to running backs. I got to move some of these guys around, but Trey Benson's at my top. Will Shipley might have to drop down. He's been injured. Same thing with Braylon Allen. I just don't know how they're going to be coming back. I do like them. I wouldn't mind getting them. Audric Estime's been having an awesome year. 5'11", 225, runs like a 4.4. Carson Steele, bigger dude, but taller dude, but still very fast, got good hands. Dylan Love is probably, there's my, him and Chip Traham, I will say, are my two running back I need receipts for. I have him twice, Dylan, but good pass catching wide receiver or running back from UNH. Has had multiple years. It's not like yeah. And Chris Tyree's another Notre Dame wide receiver and running back. Excuse me. He's been solid. One of the best guys in FCS. Bronson Yoder, another FCS guy. D3. Running back we kind of need because we don't. I mean, especially if Ty Montgomery leaves, we're going to have to get some running backs. We got to talk about some D tackles here. It's loaded, so I don't think we need to rush to get them in the first couple rounds, but I think our third round we might want to consider getting a D tackle if some of these guys are still there. These guys are physical freaks, absolute monsters. All the way, I mean, if you go down to like 30 something, I'm still good. I'm saying day 3, first 2 days. Yeah, we can go to like 50. I still have to move some of these. Let's say like let's go like mid 30s, where there's a lot of guys that just. Yeah. But I'll have to separate this out a little bit more. There's some nose tackles in here, like Nazir Stackhouse and Devondre Sweat, both big dudes that play right up the middle. They can play other spots, but that's where they're just, massive dudes. Same thing with, where's he, Cam Jackson? There he is. Yeah, some big dudes. But, physical freaks, lots of them in here. I really like Thor Griffith. I have him pretty high, but yeah, he's from Harvard. He's a local kid too. Anybody else? There's a few names in here that most people are probably. I really like this Logan Lee guy when he plays. He's been injured, I think, but I haven't. When he plays, he's got some potential to him. Hutchins. I thought he was coming out last year, didn't, but that's fine. Elijah Simmons. Maybe pick him up on UDFA. Big dude. Big, super strong. Just Tennessee's just not using him as much. This guy's impressive too. Let's go on the corners. Start banging these out a little bit quicker. I'm sorry. Decent corner class. It's just like last year when we had another situation where last year we had a lot of really great corners, and you would think, oh, there's no way we need more corners. I'm actually not gonna say we don't need corners, because look what happened. And if you can get one and they're needle movers and they're sitting there on the board, I think you gotta get them. Cooper DeJean's my top 5 favorite guys in the draft. You get him a shot at him in the second round, he's sitting there for whatever reason. The guy plays both corner and safety. You get him. You get him and you laugh. He's a ball hawk. This Cam Hart guy just seems to be like an absolute monster in terms of just going after everybody. Some really good guys in here. He's another ball hawk. Again, most of these guys are in bold. I'll probably start moving them up even more. But it's just that I've confirmed that I've watched them enough to have a higher conviction. I just need the data to really point to it. Verify it, which I think it does. I just need to go through it again. He's interesting. Go back and watch him. Oh yeah, the guy from Wingate, Trey Morrison. Yeah. He's interesting too. There's one last guy in here that I need to point out. Huh. Oh yeah, Amir Hall from Hugh Albany again. I'm not sure if he's coming out this year, but he's something special. Oh, DJ Miller from Kent State. That's right. He's a hard worker. You can tell. I don't know him, but like watching him play, like he doesn't give up, right? He's relentless. All right, so now we're on inside linebackers or just linebackers in general. Yes, we do need linebackers. We still need some depth there. Mac Wilson Sr.'s got one last year. I would go with potentially trying to find one this year. It would be probably beneficial to get somebody who can be a physical athlete. I really like this Peyton Wilson guy now. The more I watch him, more I'm impressed by him. But, I mean, even some of these other guys, like these guys up at the top here, are really great in coverage. Stutzman's a hard, just banging, seems to be like never gives up on a play. Same thing with Tommy Eichenberg. Jalen Ford's a physical freak. This Trevin Wallace guy's I'll see if hopefully he comes out, but if you get a shot at him, man. Mondon's also another good coverage guy. Dumas Johnson's another good coverage guy. There's a lot of good coverage linebackers, which we still need. I know Marte Mapu's kind of in there, but Marte Mapu's more of a D-back. I think he's devolving hopefully into another Adrian Phillips. I think his size points to that direction. Now, take Richard Gibonor, though, who's 6'3", 235. I thought he came out last year and didn't get picked up, and I was like kind of like scratching my head like, did anybody even do UDFA on this guy? I was blown away, but I guess he came back, and you can see his 6th year. I thought his eligibility was done, but anyway, keep an eye on him. Rushes, interceptions, tackles, full defensive weapon. Go for it. This Edgerrin Cooper guy, he's scary. Tone setter, mess you up. Same thing with Tyrese. Deshaun Pace, keep an eye on him. Legit star backer or star defensive player, D-back, star position. Plays it plays it in college. So if we do lose Duggar and we need to get like another replacement, or just another safety that can play at the linebacker level, Deshaun Pace. His brother came in last year. Where's he at? Ivan Pace Jr. I forget where he's at. But notice all the bold names. Like it's a good linebacker year. Again, something that's contrary to last year. Jacob Dobbs, love that guy. Just racking up tackles left and right. The only problem is he's 5'11", 237. But I don't know if he's a special teams guy. I don't know. Like it's just finding, like, again, you want to talk about finding dudes that just want to play ball and work hard and is not going to like, the Holy Cross team, there's I got connections. It like the guys at Holy Cross like are legit players and should be considered at the NFL level. They work really hard. Especially him. Let's see, anybody else in here that's to make note of? There's a lot of dudes in this. Like, again, anybody in black, bold black? Yes. He's good. Anybody UDFA that we should really keep an eye on? I know there's a few guys down here. Yeah, Bailey, Trevor Williams. He's probably the one that I should probably do a lot on. He's 5'9", 210. So he could be like one of your larger. It'd be interesting to see what he can do because he's only 5'9", but he's 210. Does kind of play an outside linebacker position, but he plays in like a deeper. Yeah, he'd probably like be another situation where you could probably put him at safety because he's got the speed to do it. Anybody else? Dylan Kelly. Yes, again, another UAlbany guy. Jim Kelly's nephew. Seems to be everywhere. Has a good nose. One of the best linebackers at the FCS level. All right, guard. Everybody wants to talk about guard, right? Because we got too many of them. Well, There's a few guards in here that if they're on the board and you got to take them at that point, they're just that good. Zach Zinter is a little bit higher than Cooper Beebe. I think Cooper Beebe is a better guard and can play some tackle. I think Zach Zinter, although been played mostly guard, can play at the tackle position the way he moves in his frame. Beebe could definitely play tackle if he need to. He's basically, how I see him, he's Mike Onwenu. Just an absolute banger inside. I'd love to get him. I think, but the problem is, I think by the time we get done with the Senior Bowl, which I think he's probably going to go to, he'll probably be. I mean, if anybody really needs a guard, he might be the first. He might be a first rounder. If not, I mean, you're going to get to the second round and people are like, we need a good offensive line. This is a way to upgrade your offensive line. I can't imagine there's too many. I can't think of too many guards at the NFL level that are a lot better than him. And I'm not saying like I'm some sort of amazing pro scout at finding offensive guards, but it's hard to find someone who does as well as he does. There's also a lot of guys in here that have played tackle before, like Matt Gonkivs is a tackle. So Kyle Hergel, keep an eye on him. Boston College dude. I'd go UDFA with him. He's a guard too, but a tackle, but he grades out pretty good at guard. Coria. So there's some guards in here that you might want to bring him in UDFA. Guy from South Dakota, he's good. There's a few other guys in here that I'm missing. Center. Most people don't want to talk about centers too, but guess what? This is a good center year, unlike last year. Cedric Van Pran, I think, is heads and shoulders above, but I'd like Bryce Foster kind of day 3. Same thing with Jacob Monk. If they're there, I would love to get them. Bryce Foster could probably play a lot of spots on the line in general. I mean, 6'5", 325 anyway, but if he can get him and he can be a solid replacement for Andrews if he's done, go for it. Physical freak, awesome shot putter in college too. He's just very explosive, mindset guy. North Dakota, Torselli Simpkins is also another guy to consider. Maybe you can get him in day 3 / UDFA. Other than that, I'm not really sure. Fullback and H-back, everybody's great. So here we go. So Jaheim Bell, H-back, but can play some straight up fullback. I'd like to see get maybe him in early day 3 if we have to in the 3rd round. Keithy, I can never say his last name correctly, but he's been injured several times, so there's some red flags there, but really good H-back tight end. Was it Kalel Mullings? He's a legit traditional inline fullback, but wouldn't hate seeing him possibly a UDFA. Same thing. Marshall Martin is an H-back who can also play some tight end, like him as well. G. Scott Jr., I need to move him way up. He is a tight end H-back beast. In terms of really good running fullbacks, Dominic Roberto's in there, and I think Derek Snell's also in there as well. I'd take a look around, but Chase Jackson as well. But there's a few guys in here that are big backs. They're fullbacks, but they're also good big backs as well. Dominic Roberto being one of them. I also have a few other guys that are D2 guys, like Khalif Jenkins, that should probably be considered in there. Yes, I have long snapper in here. Not saying that we should draft one, but UDFA, there's a couple guys at the top here that are pretty good. The guy from Notre Dame, Vincent's supposed to be pretty good. Anyway, so that's kind of, you can see how I'm building things up here. If you want to talk anything strategy-wise or who to pick, I want you to make note that it's a loaded draft, so yes, we should try to get as many draft picks as possible, but we're going to have a shot at some quality UDFAs this year. So it's not the end of the world. Offensive tackles, if we don't pick 2, I'm going to be kind of concerned. It's an awesome draft class for tackles. I mean, even these guys on, Aneem Dankwa might find his way to be a day 2 pick. 6'8", 365. But if you can get him in third and you don't take him, I'm going to flip out. Same thing with Mike Edwards. There's guys you don't, they're from Howard and Campbell University, and Garrett Greenfield, and then Chris Walker. Some of these guys, like, you just got to move on. You got to find some guys to bring in that are going to be big, strong, powerful guys that when other guys get beat up, you have something at least in the chamber, and that they might develop into something, right? Penning's little brother. This guy's from Boston College. This guy is pretty good too. I got to move him up. Ethan Driscoll from Marshall. He's 6'9". See, that's the thing. Like, last year, you couldn't find, like, it was like 6'4", 6'5", few 6'6". You got plenty of big dudes up here. So there's lots of tackles, but again, kind of going over the fact that we need to probably pick one in the first round is not a crazy. It's not a crazy idea to do, because you can move on, get some other guys, plenty of wide receivers that you can get. Edge, you might be a little stressed on it, but then you might be able to find some diamonds in the rough later on. Like, I doubt anybody's going to really have Anton this high up on their draft board. I will. No problem doing that. Same thing with Jalix. If you get Justin Blazek, if you can get him later on in the draft, awesome. Don't get me wrong. I would love for them to pick Jared Verse right off the bat. And you're probably like, I can't believe you would say that. But edge guys move the needle because they don't need a quarterback to throw the ball to them or an offensive line to protect them. Right? On defense, when you have especially an edge guy, he's impacting the play every single play. Every play. You have to block him because he can stop, he can disrupt the play, blow up the backfield for a tackle for a loss on a run, or obviously sack or at least pressure the quarterback, cause problems for the offensive line, right? Speed things up, right? Get him or maybe Chris Braswell in the second. I wouldn't hate it. Or if any one of these guys want to trickle down. Jordan Birch, 6'6", 275, big old dude. Juice, 6'7", 265, moves like he's like 6 foot. There's names out there, guys. It's a good class. This Brash guy I need to move him up. And same thing with AJ Simon. He's the other guy from Albany. Tight ends, gotta look around. Gotta go get some guys. Safeties, there's talent there. Just gotta go get them. It's the time for them to do it. This is gonna be the year where you gotta make this like kind of hard reset, right? Xavier Watts, I gotta bold him. He's solid. Man, Cole Wisniewski. We're looking good, guys. There's dudes out there. It's much better than last year. Last year I was sitting there looking at that draft and I was just like, oh. And that's the thing. Like, you look at last year's. Let's just talk about that again. Last year's draft was like, everybody's like, what are we doing? It's like, there was nothing there to take. They took a basic. I really liked their draft last year. Like, they picked up good, solid guys, especially in day 3, and they're like, yeah, there's probably like 2 picks right now. Everybody's like kind of scratching their head on, but I still understand them. Like, for example, like Marte Mapu probably needs development. Keep in mind the guy's like pec was torn. He couldn't do anything like really full contact all the way up until like basically the like Green Bay game or something like that. He started finally getting out there. That Green Bay week of practice. So keep that in mind. Like, he missed months and months and months and months of work physically. And then, Jake Andrews but hey, like David Andrews is still the center. Like you don't just like that's the problem being a center. Like you have to kind of be out there all the time because the guy next to you or the guy you're hiking the ball to needs to have that connection, right? So you can't just swap them in and out haphazardly. Like that's a strong connection. So besides that, though, the rest of them I thought were solid. Obviously, we lost Amir Speed, sadly, because of roster shuffling. So next step, which we'll wait on, is getting data and then start grading these guys out, getting them into I have a few tabs going. Got top 200, which would be basically really what the Patriots should be looking at, and then a larger big board of prospects where I'm grading everybody out. We'll get to that. I hope to have like a 500 is probably where I'll really just cut it off. I'll keep all the names obviously, but just in case for later on for reference, but especially for the UDFA side of things. But we're far away from really the next steps. Maybe some names moving around up and down from watching more and more games and kind of refining these lists, but nothing is etched in stone yet, especially in terms of injuries and seeing how the rest of the season comes out for both college. I don't, at this point, again, I'm going to reiterate who do we want, when do we want them? It's going to come down to just getting the best available this year. And it's not best available on anybody's board, it's who they want, right? It's best available on their board, because this year everything's in play. You're not refining a team. You're still building a team. You're in rebuild form. Like last year, I remember I was listening to somebody and they were talking about how stupid it was to take the best available. And I'm like, well, best available, not Mel Kiper's best available board. Take the best available guy that's there. Now they had, I think, a relatively refined strategy. They were picking what they wanted because of how bad the draft was, right? This year it's so loaded. Now you just need to if that guy, if there's somebody sitting on the board, let's just take these safeties for, if you really like Cole Bishop and you're sitting there in the 4th round, Cole Bishop's there, you better be picking Cole Bishop or Andrew Makuba in the 4th round, or James Williams in the 4th round, right? Let's go to wide receiver. If it's the 6th round and for some reason Hayden Hatton's still sitting there, pick Hayden Hatton. Get guys who want to play, right? Malachi Corley's still there in the 3rd round. Pick Malachi Corley or Brendan Rice. If you can get Brendan Rice in the 3rd round, man, any one of these guys. And that's the other thing. Let's just reiterate that too. Let's do the mock draft and just kind of remember these names here. So let's do that next. So we haven't moved, by the way. This has been updated and basically nothing happened because we everybody else that sucks still sucks. So we didn't move, even though we lost, we did not move up on the board. Still 5 rounds in PFF, keep that in mind. And then also, let's just start the draft right away. And then let's just take a look at how many. I don't think they probably added yet. It's still 5 pages. So interesting. Hayden Hatton was in here. I was going to use that as an example. Oh no, Hayden Hatton's gone. Oh no. So at least they have more guys in the system. They're just limiting it to 200 people to pick. And that's because it's only 5 rounds, but tells me that they can do more than 5 rounds already if they wanted to. All right, so let's do this. Go back and see what we got. So who went first? So if this stands, we'd have a shot at Joe Alt. I like Fuaga. I wouldn't put him at 10. But Where they have Jared Verse. See, here's the thing. This is what I was talking about, which is the strategy. If you're this high up, right? You got these two guys and then this guy. Now, once you get the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to probably about 15, you're still dealing with blue chip level guys. And it's going to hurt you to say this or hear this, but I need more picks, right? So if I can move back to teams that are trying to refine their roster rather than just amass talent and get as many good players as possible, I'm okay with that. Excuse me. So someone really might, Brock Bowers is him and Marvin Harrison Jr. And then probably, probably Verse after that. Leatu Latu's good, but like Marvin Harrison Jr., Brock Bowers, Jared Verse, and then maybe Joe Alt and Olu. Probably your top actual players in the draft. And then Drake May and Caleb Williams being there as well. But point being is, like, after that, you've got still blue chips all the way down to, like, Bo Nix is there for position value. But, yeah, I'd say to, like, 15 or 20. Like, Cooper's in there as blue chip to me. Same thing with Cameron. Amika's on the edge of that. Nubin's on the edge of that. Yeah, so now once you get into, like, the late 20s in this draft, you're out off the blues. Now, deep blues, you got about 5. But we only had one or two last year with Bijan and Will Anderson. So let's see what we can get for trades. Looks like we got 5. And so this would be a great example. So if we take 5, right, trade the 9, and another first from next year, yeah, pick up with 1 to move back 4. Is it worth it? Probably. I would actually ask for a 73, but that's for them too expensive. So let's see if we can go back to, like, no, 19 would be too much, but this would be a great example. Like, you do this. Could we move back that far and still? Yeah, let's actually see that. Too much. So we're not getting exactly what we want here. So let's go back to the Broncos and trade back for that. Not going to get it. See, to me, this you'd have to give me basically all this. And then like a second next year. So tackles. So at 37, can we still pick up a tackle if I don't want to pick up a tackle? Yeah, we got Jordan Morgan. I have no problem taking Jordan Morgan. Marius Mims is still in there. Is J.C. Latham still on the board? Yeah. So 19. So I'm going to see if I can go move back. Oh, that's way too far back. But who's more blue chippy, Jared or Rome? Keon Coleman's still on there. Dallas Turner's still on there. J.C. Latham's still on there. Jerry Newton's blue. Good problem to have. Well, let's just prove a point. Let's actually just do the Jared verse, right? And then we go Johnny Wilson. just making point here. Tyler Guyton's still there, and Kingsley. Michael Pratt. I'm going to have at least hopefully one tackle to go for. Perfect. I actually should have done Kingsley. You know what? I'm assuming Kingsley wouldn't be there. Kingsley, in my opinion, is going to be a first-round pick. So it's unfair for him to even be there. So there's that. Do I go with Ray Davis? We still need another wide receiver. Jalen McMillan in the 4th round is a steal, but so is a lot of these guys. We have 105 and 109. I think Michael Hall Jr. is probably going to go before that, though. This guy is very interesting in how he plays. Not as many receptions as last year. See that? He missed a game. He's just not out there as much. Is Polk's beating him up? Oh, wait. He was out there. He didn't get anything. So he's missed games, period. Never mind. Decent amount of stuff. Slot. All right. I got Gabriel. Could I got Gabriel? I think I'm running into, I think I want to get him now. Sorry I'm taking forever on this one. But I'll pick it up. So let's do... Probably should pick up Estime. Nope, I'm gonna pick up Roman. Up Max Melton or Jalen Simpson right now. It's nuts. I also like Ricky and DeCorian Clark. Let's actually pick up DeCorian. Hopper, Corley, Still pick up Cam Ward. Jordan Birch down here. This guy's good too. This guy's good. Good. Still good. Still good. Crazy. To me, I can't mess up on taking Nelson Caesar, though, at this point. Or I should actually think about picking up another quarterback. Javon Foster is good. Same thing with Keith Randolph. Jalen Ford is the linebacker. Probably a better pick. Yeah. Go Jalen Ford. Now, that was a long draft, and you kind of saw the idea that I was doing there, which is just, this is how many guys we can pick up and still be hungry for more draft picks and just massing talent. Now, again, we're going to have a lot of spillover into UDFA, so this is not what the Patriots are going to do. But that one pick, the value is, the major lesson there, which is moving back 4 spots, still getting a blue chip, right? Move back 4 spots, still got basically the best edge in the whole entire draft. You got your wide receiver still, got a quarterback, got a tackle, right? Got your defensive lineman that we're going to have to get because the depth there is an issue. And the 2 guys that we have in there kind of go missing sometimes, and it just doesn't seem like we have, Farms shows up. He gets in there and does his work, but you still need more guys to go in there and really bang around. Roman Wilson, who, we'll say Johnny Wilson's kind of like the tight end. He's kind of like a Gesicki type. He's big 6'7" dude. But, Roman Wilson probably being a little bit more of your Bourne type of player. And DeCorian Clark, although rehabbing a knee, is, in many ways a good, solid perimeter wide receiver. Runs crisp routes, big physical athlete. Just hopefully the knee recovers. Cooper Beebe, probably not going to be there in the 5th round. I think that's absurd. Like I said, he'll probably be a 2nd or 3rd round pick by the time we get done with the Senior Bowl. Jalen Ford, they're going to say that was a C- or whatever, but he's not a C- grade. He's solid. Anyway, I'm actually going to give it that'll probably be it, maybe, or we just do a one quick straight through speed run here. No, mess around. Just taking who I think we probably should be taking. Probably Joe Alt here. Next. $69. What would we get around 69? I could probably get Michael Pratt. I'm gonna miss out the wide receivers though. So what do we have up here that's good that we can get for a wide receiver right now? Not much. I mean, Jalen Polk I kind of like. Lad McConkey, I don't have him until the 3rd. Malachi would like to get, but JT or Chris Jenkins would be very good defensively. Or Kalen Bullock. Corleone, Braswell's there. Princely. Mason. So let's do this. Let's go with Jontavian Sanders. It's basically a big wide receiver anyway. I think the smart thing here is to get Pratt. There's rumors that he might be coming back for, going to one of the big time conferences and trying to get, some NIL and a little more exposure because of how deep this draft is. I mean, that might be true, but I don't know. Trey Harris, that's not a bad pick. Troy Franklin. Yikes. So kind of like the idea of Trey Harris here. He's been impressive. Smith. Yeah, I'd keep rolling back and probably picking up some of these better guys next round. Here, the better option is either Kate Stover or Jaheim Bell. I think Jaheim Bell, probably in terms of a talent, is a little bit more of a prospect because of what he can do offensively. So I'm going to go with him. Do we technically not? Yeah, we didn't pick up any wide receivers. Not crazy, though, because Jatavian Sanders is, like, again, going to be like a sicky tight end. One's like a 4-5 big dude. Oh, we did pick up, yeah, Trey Harris. So that was no defense. So what happens if we do this? Can we afford not getting a tackle in the first round? Going for the guy who's just, like I said, the offensive weapon? Josh Newton sitting around at 33. Yikes. That's tempting. Same thing with TJ Tampa. He's a guard. I'd like to get. It's so loaded that that wouldn't be wrong. That would not be wrong. You know? Joe Milton or Jordan Travis. We're picking up Cooper. Cooper's not going to be down here. I got to stop, thinking that that's actually a thing. Same thing with Marquise Cox being down here. Again, even Javon Foster. Or Keith Randolph, or Jalen Ford, or Sam, like Steve Linton down here is absurd. But it's how the draft's shaping up. It's just loaded. All right, so let's do Joe Milton. Probably the best arm in all of college football. At least you're getting something like you don't have to worry about it anymore. Like that guy from the pocket's gonna throw bullets. I could see how this is not seen to be good, but at the same time, like, again, top 3 best players in the, maybe at least top 5 best players in the draft. Chris Jenkins plays, as D tackle, but he plays all across the line. So up front, there's your offensive tackle. Kingsley won't be there in the 3rd round, but you can probably take at least 1 tackle in the 3rd round. Jaden Hicks plays a variety of safety alignments, and you pick up a project quarterback in the 5th round. Not crazy, because you can pick up a few more wide receivers deep in the draft. But here, that one, I guess, would show you that you might think this is nuts. Like, this looks like, oh, it's a stupid draft. It's not. Because I just picked up a whole bunch of guys that, yeah, we have Godchow and Barmore, but again, you need depth there And those guys are very like on or off. Like they're playing good games or not. And when they don't, we're getting our butts kicked. And that's been more like, not just like this year. It's like, you know, what, a couple years now? 3 years? Or, you know, like they're there, but sometimes they're not. You know, and again, we have to pick up some sort of safety help that guys can come in and be operable. And if you can still pick up a decent quarterback in the 5th round, you might as well. And yes, again, I'm going to point this out. He plays everything from inline, slot, wide, H-back, sniffer position, slat, and even fullback. The guy even takes handoffs. Okay? So it wouldn't be a wasted pick. It's the same argument that people had here with Bijan Robinson. Well, you know, taking a running back is not highly valued, and you know, hello. Go watch the tape. Go look at the stat line. There was nobody else better than him in the whole entire draft year last year, and the combine solidified that. And on top of that, all the reports that guy was an absolute, just perfect human being. Guy lived for football. Leader. I you know, if people are, you know, we heard about the Patriots, or who wants to get a running back? That's so stupid. Have you seen the guy play? Now, I'm trust me, I'm very happy we got Gonzalez. But all these people freaking out for some reason that, you know, Bijan Robinson was picked so highly, and everybody is like, you don't realize like how good that guy was. He'd still be probably, and even in this draft, he'd probably still be one of the top 5 best players in this whole draft. Be him, Brock Bowers, Verse. I mean, Olu would be in there. Yeah, I mean, obviously you'd have to go with Caleb, and probably Drake May would be an argument being those guys, but oh my gosh, would it just be, you know, picking names or picking people just based on their designation on the depth chart. It's not like that anymore, people. That's not how the NFL works anymore. You have to get talent that are good players and good people, right? Because not everybody who's coming into the NFL is there for the same reason that we are there for. Not everybody's there to either entertain you because they're trying to win as a team anymore. They're there to get their bag and be all like hard or whatever, you know, like they're on their own mission, which you can be, but you also need to be a team player first. You gotta work hard, you gotta show up. If there's people that are on paper look like they're gonna be solid like players, and they have a you know, their character points to being, you know, showing up and trying to be good for their team. Like Brock Bowers points to that. Chris Jenkins points to that. Kingsley points to that. Jane Hicks points to that. See what I'm saying? I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. is supposed to be an absolute amazing human being. That's why you go after these guys. Now we talk about Caleb Williams. I'm kind of out on him. I'm on the, if we have the Caleb Williams and there's people that want to give me, they're like in their, like they're in the 5th, or sorry, that want to move me back like 5 picks, but want to give me next year's 1st round pick and then a bunch of other picks this year. I'm ready to cash out. I'm ready to roll over value. I am, seriously. You think I'm nuts? I don't know. I'm at this point because it's something's telling me that's not a guy you really want around. Not New England. Go to a Patriots game. You look around, right? Think about what it's like to live in New England. Think about the people in New England. What that fan base is built around. Guys getting up and grinding. Blue collar, doing their jobs, saving up to afford to go to those games. Definitely don't want guys out there asking to get ownership, be ownership in a team, and then painting their fingernails and crying. Oh, it's a different era of athlete. Okay, but it's still a team sport. The parameters of how you win the game still requires you to work with your team. Your wide receivers are not a means to you being awesome. It's a means to you winning the game and working together. And putting on a good show. Not you being the show. And if you're not the show or something doesn't go your way, you don't go look to cry about it. It's okay for a man to cry, but you don't do it because you lost the game. You could be upset about losing a game, I guess, but it's not necessary. You don't just go run off the field and not shake hands. Right? Don't go embarrass your team. Don't embarrass your owner, the guy who hires you, pays your check. Okay? Anyway, I'm going to stop here. I hope you guys made it all the way through and listened to every single one of my rants there. But point being, again, driving home. Big, awesome draft class. Get draft picks. Get value. Okay? And just pick the best available guy when it's there. If you don't like Caleb Williams, don't draft Caleb Williams. Roll over that value if you like. Get more draft picks. Get something even next year. Do whatever you like. But just get guys that you like. Don't be sitting there and just trying to nitpick at we gotta get a wide receiver. If there's a better defensive tackle, higher graded defensive tackle that's going to move the needle for you, go get that guy. Just do it, because we just need help everywhere. You just got to do it. Just got to get guys that can play. All right, I'm going to end it there. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was at least semi-educational. And as always, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. And thanks for watching.